Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and on the morning of our huge Champions League playoff second leg against Kairat Almaty, we actually have quite a lot to talk about because it looks as though Celtic are very close to completing their next two signings of the summer transfer window, and more details have emerged today of that second one after Michel-Ange Balikwisha. So we're going to go through that plus some other transfer stories before previewing a little bit of tonight's game. It's a big day for Celtic, and let's hope it all goes to plan. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. Thank you all so much for the mental levels of support you've shown throughout this summer and over these past few days in particular as we begin to wrap up that hectic part of the season. Go down below, hit all those buttons. I'm not going anywhere after the transfer deadline. I'll be here all season as per usual. So thank you all so much, and let's get into today's video. Marcelo Saracchi is set to become one of Celtic's newest signings and could join just after Michel-Ange Balikwisha, or maybe before Michel-Ange Balikwisha, depending on how things go. And that comes from Sky Sports this morning, as reports have circulated that a deal has been agreed. Anthony Joseph of Sky Sports reported that Celtic have agreed a loan deal for Boca Juniors left-back Marcelo Saracchi, and the player is due to travel to London to undergo his medical today before finalising his move in Glasgow. But as things stand, there is no option to buy, and that seems to be the deal between both clubs. So Marcelo Saracchi is on his way to Glasgow. He will go under his medical in London before coming up to Glasgow. But there is no option to buy for the player, and obviously that contradicts the initial reports that came out on Saturday night saying that that would be part of the deal. So Marcelo Saracchi, of course, joins to become backup left-back, gives us suitable depth in behind Kieran Tierney, and someone who's experienced in UEFA competition and with big clubs such as Boca Juniors, where he is signing from. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better than most of the South American signings that come to Celtic, and certainly better than the last Uruguayan left-back that we had. But I think the big part of this story this morning is that no option to buy is included in this transfer. I don't know what's happened there between both clubs to arrive at that. I don't know if Celtic aren't willing to pay the money that Boca are looking for. I don't know if Boca are just wanting the player back at the end of the season. It's unclear what those reasons are, but I'm going to say something that might be controversial. This is one of the only times where I'm not that bothered. Marcelo Saracchi isn't a must-keep for Celtic. In fact, we won't see him all that much over the course of the season should Kieran Tierney stay fit. So I don't think it's the end of the world if we don't keep him. And I know people will say, well, if Tierney drops out injured, Saracchi comes in and plays well, and then we don't have an option to buy, then that's a bit of a problem. I get that, but I think that the hope is that Hayato Inamura can go elsewhere on loan, play regular football, and come back to be that backup anyway. And I think most people want that as well. Like, I think people want Inamura to be involved with Celtic moving forward. So this opens that pathway for him should he go out on loan and play well. If Saracchi does play well enough to a level where we want to keep him, yeah, we'll negotiate it next year. But Kieran Tierney's the Celtic left back for the next 5 years at least. I don't think this is the end of the world, to be quite honest. So we'll find out over the next 24 hours if the medical is passed, and maybe we'll see an announcement from Celtic as early as tomorrow. But Marcelo Saracchi and Michel-Ange Balikwisha both look set to sign for the club. Let's talk about Calvin Stengs, shall we? Yesterday we spoke about Leicester City beginning talks with Feyenoord over a potential deal for Calvin Stengs. One that came as bad news to me and probably most Celtic fans, because it also indicated that Celtic will only move forward with negotiations should we qualify for the Champions League tonight. And I made the point in my video yesterday, well, that's wasting time. It's allowing Leicester City to get in ahead of us and make a better case for signing the player. Well, it looks as though Leicester City are also putting the brakes on it a little bit, which might open the door for Celtic slightly. Because Rob Dorsett and Anthony Joseph of Sky reported this morning that Leicester City are only likely to continue with the pursuit of Calvin Stengs should they sell Bilal El Khanous, who is currently a Leicester City player. Now, there is rumours of Bilal El Khanous getting a move in the next week. I think clubs as big as Tottenham Hotspur have been linked with the player. But Now they need to play a waiting game to see if they can get a player out the door to sign Calvin Stengs. Of course, Celtic might be playing a much shorter waiting game because we could know as early as tonight if we should go for Calvin Stengs. So this has opened the door slightly for Celtic. I'm not saying that it's fantastic news and things are going to get rolling and that we're definitely going to go and sign Calvin Stengs, but this suddenly adds a bit more optimism to the possibility of a deal, and maybe, just maybe, we're back in the race here. However, as always, things aren't easy and there's always a catch. Because reports coming out of Sky in Italy this morning also suggested that Pisa have contacted the player. We touched on Pisa's interest yesterday very briefly, but there was nothing concrete, there was nothing to suggest that they'd made a move for the player. Well, now there is, because as of this morning, Pisa have apparently held talks with Calvin Stengs over the possibility of a loan move. Now, this also keeps a door open for Celtic, because I'm pretty sure Feyenoord would prefer money first and foremost, which Celtic seem to be offering and Pisa don't seem to be offering. Celtic is a much better and bigger club to go to than Pisa, of course. I think the only advantage that Pisa have over Celtic here is that they are a Serie A side in a beautiful town, which you would much rather live in than Glasgow, probably. The lovely resort of Pisa rather than Glasgow. That seems to be maybe the only factor that would sway Calvin Stengs in their direction. But Celtic certainly still have an opportunity here. If we find out as early as 7 o'clock tonight that we are going through to the Champions League, we should be on the phone to Feyenoord instantly. There is no way that Celtic can't compete with Pisa. And if Leicester City are holding off, which has been reiterated by Sky in this article as well, then there's every chance Celtic could still be an ideal destination for the player. So yeah, it's an interesting one that's going to take twists and turns over the next few days. I mean it when I say this. That final whistle, if it goes tonight and we're through, we should be on the phone and we should be getting this done. It's too good an opportunity to pass up on. And Celtic have all the selling power that they need to bring him to the club. So do it. Sell the club to him and go get him. Of course, it's all dependent on what the player wants. It's not as if I can sit here and say that he's set on a move to Celtic and that would be his ideal situation. But Celtic should be able to bring that player to the club. They should be able to offer the wages. They should be able to compete with Pisa and a Championship Leicester City. That should be the reality we're living in. Is it the reality we're living in because of the board? No, but let's hope something changes over these next few days. The Calvin Stengs saga isn't done right yet. Right yet? That makes no sense. Okay, quick fire stuff, just to go over some stories that have been bubbling away in the background these past few weeks and months. We'll start with Jamie Vardy, of course. He was linked with Celtic quite heavily last week after reports emerged from The Sun that he had his heart set on a move to Celtic. It looks as though that potential move to Celtic is out the window, because other reports in Italy this morning suggest that Cremonese in Serie A have made contacts with the player. First contacts have been made with Jamie Vardy, and Cremonese is now looking like a very possible destination for him. Those reports came out last night. There has been nothing else to suggest that Celtic have been in discussions with Jamie Vardy. Of course, that could change once again after the game against Kairat Almaty, but I don't know. It looks as though a Serie A move could be in the works for Jamie, and we'll just need to wait and see what happens, but that's his situation right now. And on the topic of strikers, target Lewis Montano, who we haven't spoke about for about a month or so now, his name has started doing the rounds again because he has refused to play for Cluj. Now, you remember Celtic reportedly had a bid rejected for Lewis Montano about a month or so ago. Apparently, Cluj wanted something as high as £10 to £15 million. Celtic weren't matching that fee. Well, he's now decided to skip playing for the club. He's refusing to play and is trying to force a move between now and the end of the window, it feels like. Now, reports out of Romania seems to suggest this is over a pay issue. Originally, it was maybe the manager tried to clear it up, or tried to put out there that it was injury. He tried to clear up speculation through that. However, on television, it was said that he was upset he hadn't received some money promised when he signed a new contract, and apparently is owed around €200,000, and it looks as though he might be refusing to play for the club until he receives that money. Does this open a door for Celtic? Apparently our bid was something in the region of £6 to £7 million about a month or so ago, and he looked like one of the better striker targets we've been linked with in this window. Could that rear its head once more with all these reports floating? we'll just need to wait and see. I don't know if Celtic are going to be willing to spend that big on a striker with a week to go in the window. We should be, but I don't know if we will. So keep an eye out for his name, but a bit of a situation unfolding with him over in Romania. So Celtic play leg 2 of that Kairat Almaty tie tonight. It's a huge, huge game. Let's not beat around the bush. We want to be in the Champions League. We need to be in the Champions League for all the financial benefits, reputation benefits, and just for the general sake of the club. That's the competition to be in. I don't like this dropping down to Europa nonsense. We're not going to go on a run in the Europa League anyway. The benefits are in the Champions League, and we should be consistently challenging ourselves to be a bigger and better side in Europe, and you do that by being in the top flight competition. And so tonight's game is huge. We haven't made life easy for ourselves. There's no denying that. We should have won last week. We should have went over to Kazakhstan with a cushion, and now we need to play in a high temperature, high altitude, uncomfortable away game with a lot on the line. Especially just our general reputation. You know, it would be quite embarrassing if we go out tonight, and I think that we need to go out there from minute 1 to ensure that doesn't happen. I'll be previewing the game in much more depth before kick-off tonight, so make sure to look out for the live stream. We will be live for the lineups being announced, and we'll have a good conversation about what to expect in the game there. As for my starting 11 prediction, it is on screen now. I think Celtic essentially need to go with the strongest side available, that sadly will miss out on Alistair Johnston through injury, but aside from that, I feel like Brendan Rodgers knows what team he's going to go with. And that's the team I have on screen. So that's my prediction for now. We will talk about it more in depth this evening. I'll see you there. We'll be live sometime about an hour before kickoff. Let's put it that way. Right, that does it for today's video. If you've enjoyed, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. And I'll see you tonight. Big game. Are we nervous? We'll speak about it later. See you all next time.